Hi everyone, my name is Audrey and welcome to my channel. Today I'm giving you my August wrap-up as well as my September TBR. So as you've probably guessed from the title of this video, I'm doing a combined wrap-up and TBR video because I don't have much to talk about that's anything new. Well, I do a tiny bit, but not that much. My August reading month was horrible. I managed to read one book. Yeah, I know. It was a very difficult month for me. I thought it was going to be a good month, but I ended up having so much to deal with, even if I stopped working my night shifts. And I tend to forget that I am in the beginning of a burnout. So like I still have those symptoms. My body is still very exhausted and I don't have much of a choice but to listen to it. So I fall asleep a lot. I'm exhausted very easily and I get tired very easily. And even if I do pick up my book and I have the best intentions to read while I'm trying to rest, I end up just falling asleep. So I haven't managed to read that much. I usually give myself a goal to read 60 pages per day, which I usually am able to maintain. But for the month of August, I only managed to read 32 pages per day, which is actually a really big number compared to what I was thinking it was going to be. So I did make some progress in many books, but I didn't finish anything. I didn't get to the half point of any of those books. But yeah. On that note, I'm gonna leave you with the time lapse for the bullet journal for the wrap up, and I'll get back to you after that.
He's so unproblematic. He's such a romantic and fanatic, and every day with him is magic. He can be so poetic. His way with words is dramatic. It's classic, and I just can't get enough of it. Just the other day, before he went away, he gave me a bouquet of roses with a note. He's the one to say my heart. He says that I blush, crossed out, I love you, an instant hero. You're the air that I breathe, you're the sun on my cheek. How could I ever leave when you're my gravity? You're the meaning of life, you're the stars in the sky, my Polaris at night. Guide me home to your light. Oh, who knew he had this ability? Knocks me off my feet when he talks to me in poetry. He makes life sound like a rom-com, a special kind of charm, a sweet calm, and I am left and blushing the sun. I'm thinking there's few things better than a man with pen and paper who knows his way around a love letter. Just the other day, before he went away, he gave me a bouquet of roses with a note. He's the one to say my heart. He says that I blush, crossed out, I love you, an instant hero. You're the air that I breathe, you're the sun on my cheek. How could I ever leave when you're my gravity? You're the meaning of life, you're the stars in the sky, my Polaris at night. Guide me home to your light. Oh, who knew he had this ability? Knocks me off my feet when he talks to me in poetry. Okay, it's so Shakespearean, all the way he rhymes with experience. Not gonna lie, I kinda like that he's elaborate, over the top, but it is clever and you liberate. Okay, it's so Shakespearean, all the way he rhymes with experience. Not gonna lie, I kinda like that he's elaborate, over the top, but it is clever and I didn't think it'd be this hard to go and try to let you down. At first, for sure, we saw forever and the distance, but the path of least resistance is the one where I don't see you anymore. And yes, I'm sure about my choices. I don't need you to take me home. And though for sure the bed is warmer by your side, oh please believe me, babe, I've tried. You're not the one I thought that you were gonna be. I got you singing, ooh, I got the blues. I got you singing, ooh, I don't know what to do without you, baby. Ooh, you got the blues.
So the only book that I read for August was Lion by Saru Brierley. I'm sorry, I always mispronounce his name. This is a nonfiction and I read this one by audiobook. I've seen the movie a while back and I was looking for audiobooks because it was one of the prompts for the Aurelium Readathon, which I will come back to in a second. But one of the prompts was to read a book that didn't have fantasy in it, and one of the other prompts was to read a book by audio. So I went through my Libby app and I tried to go through all of the nonfiction books that were available like right now, so I didn't have like a long wait list for them, and I made a list of those books that I was interested in, and Lion was one of them, and it was available right away, so I got to read it as soon as I was ready. I decided to pick it up because I really enjoyed the movie and I was curious to see if the audiobook was going to give more than what the movie gave us. I would say it did a little bit, but not that much. So if you've seen the movie, you're not really missing out on much. I remember the one thing that bothered me from the movie is that we didn't have any updates on where his brother was, his adopted brother was later in life, because it was difficult at the beginning when they adopted him, but later on we didn't have much updates in the movies, and I think there's a little bit more of that in the books. So that's probably just a tiny bit part that there's more of in the book, but the book was written before the movie and I really enjoyed it. I really did. It made me tear up. I did tear up and cry while I was watching the movie. It's astounding how much this one little boy has gone through, and he's not the only one. And it's heartbreaking, as well as it was very touching for him to find his family finally. So yeah, I really enjoyed the experience of the audiobook. I strongly recommend, especially if you haven't seen the movie. I rarely rate audiobooks, but this one I did rate 5 stars, but it was mostly for the way it was written and the structural part and like the writing itself, not the content, because I don't feel comfortable with rating the content of someone's life. But it's mostly out of like the writing specifics as well as my enjoyment of the book, if that makes sense. And that's it. That's all I read. It was easy to read while I was cutting some fabric. So I think that's the only way I could have done any reading is with the audiobook. It is very, very short. So I managed to read it in like one day. Other than that, I always participate in the Buzzwordathon hosted by Kayla from Books and Lala. And the buzzword for August was a body part, which I chose Yellowface to read for that one by R.F. Kuang. I did not finish reading it. I got to 40-ish% by the end of the month. So rolling it over to September. Spoiler alert. And then for the Aurelium Readathon, I had 4 prompts. I had to read a book with vampires, which I chose The Beautiful for that prompt. I only got to page 64, so not far into it. Then I had to read an audiobook, which I read Lion for that one. A book with no magic, again, Lion fit that prompt. I was trying not to double up prompts with the same book, but since I only read one book, I guess I guess those two can work. Then I had to go on a random tarot card generator and read a book with that symbol, and I got the full tarot card, and I decided to read Fool's Assassin for that one because I find it's really, really hard to find books with like a specific symbol on them. So I just went with the title of the card, which I was reading Fool's Assassin. I'm not very far into it still and didn't manage to finish that. So that's how my Aurelian readathon went. Not a great win, but it's all good. It's fine, I guess. I am disappointed, but at the same time, I feel so conflicted by wanting to just read and read and read because I want to read. It's not a pressure that I'm putting on myself. I just wanted to put it out there, but I just want to read so much, but at the same time, my body is not keeping up. So there's not much more I can do than what I'm doing now. Anyhow, I'm still in the middle of 10 books right now. I don't mind it at all. It's just I just need to make some progress and read every day. I'll talk to you about all of these books after the September TBR bullet journal time lapse.
I had my head so deep in the sand. When I met you, didn't have plans, but I stayed when I should have ran. Hey, and this happens every time. Get too close when I'm playing with fire. I get burned, but I know we'll be fine. Hey, got me running around in circles, looking for a shortcut. Does it get easier? Cause I'm trying not to hurt now. I don't wanna miss out, I don't wanna lose all this. I ain't afraid to say I love you, baby. I ain't afraid to say that at all. All I'm saying is it with you, baby. I'm afraid I'll fall. I keep a lock around my heart for safety, cause I've been through this before. All I'm saying is it with you, baby. I'm afraid I'll fall. I'm afraid I'll fall. I'm afraid I'll fall. I'm afraid, 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 I'm afraid to fall. So who knows where we're gonna land? I know you're scared, babe, I understand, but I got you, just take my hand. Hey, and this happens every time, but with you I know I'll be fine. You're the sun in my darkest night. Hey, got me running around in circles, looking for a shortcut. Does it get easier? Cause I'm trying not to hurt now. I don't wanna miss out, I don't wanna lose all this. I ain't afraid to say I love you, baby. I ain't afraid to say that at all. All I'm saying is it with you, baby. I'm afraid I'll fall. I keep a lock around my heart for safety, cause I've been through this before. All I'm saying is it with you, baby. I'm afraid I'll fall. I'm afraid I'll fall. I'm afraid I'll fall. I'm afraid, I'm afraid, I'm afraid, I'm afraid, I'm afraid, I'm afraid. I'm afraid, I'm afraid, I'm afraid, I'm afraid, I'm afraid, I'm afraid. I'm afraid to, I'm afraid to, I'm afraid to fall. I found somebody, I say you don't cross my mind. And she doesn't know that your favorite place is still mine. I take the long way home, avoid what I can't let go. I don't always think about you, but sometimes I do, 'cause sometimes I drive through all of the streets we used to on First Avenue. 'Cause sometimes I don't even know where I'm going at first. All of the turns that I had to unlearn, back to the surface, the feeling of all that we were. I don't always think about you till First Avenue. That's when I do. That's when I do. I guess the truth is I can't leave memories behind. When she asks about you, I hesitate every time. Every time. I don't always think about you, but sometimes I do, 'cause sometimes I drive through all of the streets we used to on First Avenue. 'Cause sometimes I don't even know where I'm going at first. All of the turns that I had to unlearn, back to the surface, the feeling of all that we were. I don't always think about you till First Avenue. That's when I do. Think about you, but sometimes I do, 'cause sometimes I drive through all of the streets we used to on First Avenue. 'Cause sometimes I don't even know where I'm going at first. All of the turns that I had to unlearn, back to the surface, the feeling of all that we were. I don't always think about you till First Avenue. That's when I do.
you like your ex did. I didn't think it'd be this hard to go and try to let you down. At first, for sure, we saw forever and the distance, but the path of least resistance is the one where I don't see you anymore. And yes, I'm sure about my choices. I don't need you to take me home. And though for sure the bed is warmer by your side, oh please believe me, babe, I've tried. You're not the one I thought that you were gonna be. I got you singing, ooh, I got the blues. I got you singing, ooh, I don't know what to do without you, baby. Ooh, you got the blues. And even though your heart is breaking, I got another man who loves to make me smile. So can you just get up and go? Oh, you say the best I've ever had, I won't be bad, you drive me mad. I don't believe you when you say I'm gonna change. It's not that you can't break it down, yeah. It's just you didn't love me right. It will take time to get in line, crawl up the vine, you will be fine. But you will have to be fine on your own. I got you singing, ooh, I got the blues. I got you singing, ooh, I don't know what to do without you, baby. Ooh, you got the blues. And even though your heart is breaking, I got another man who loves to make me smile.
Alright, so for September, again, as always, the Buzzwordathon is a game word. So for that one, I had a couple of good options, but I'm gonna go with like 3, but I'm gonna focus on one and see like if I get to the other 2, if that makes sense. Because the one I want to get to is also fitting for the magical readathon that you have like a prompt every month. So it also fits that one. So for the magical readathon, the prompt I chose to go to because you have like more than one way that you can follow. And I decided to go with one route and get a dark academia book. And I decided to pick up Ace of Spades by, I cannot pronounce their name. I ordered it online at my local bookstore. It was in stock already, so I'll be able to get it very quickly. Probably just on Monday, because tomorrow is Labor's Day and everything's closed. But I'll get it this week. And at the same time, it does fit the game word prompt. So I should be able to get to like both of these prompts with that book. But I still wanted to put Ready Player One in that list because that fits the game prompt, as well as the Game of Thrones book number 2, which is called A Clash of Kings. So like this one can be stretched a bit because Game of Thrones is not the actual name of the series. It's a Song of Ice and Fire. So I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. Kings is still part like of a card game, so I guess that can fit. But anyways, if I'm reading Ace of Spades, that prompt will be done with anyways. So, and next I'm just rolling over everything I started reading that I just want to finish and just like move on to other things afterwards. So I'll just go quickly. I'm not going into any details of these books because I did talk about them in the past a lot in my previous TBRs. So I'm just gonna go quickly with them, and here you go. So as I've said earlier, I've got Yellowface by R.F. Kuang, which I'm now over the 50% mark. So that one should be done with quickly. The next one is Psalm of Storms and Silence by Roseanne A. Brown, which is the second book of the duology. The first book being A Song of Wrecks and Ruin. I'm really enjoying it. It is going to go pretty fast. I'm close to the 25% mark on this one. Next, I want to get to The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. So it's book number 2. I'm quite far actually, but I think it's 20-ish%. But this reads really slowly. I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish it this month because I do have a lot going on, but I do want to make a substantial like progress into it so that I can hopefully finish the 3 books by the end of the year. So like that's the goal, but I won't be mad if I don't have time to finish it this month. The next book on my list is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Susan Collins, which is the prequel to the Hunger Games trilogy. I'm not liking this book, but I'm gonna read it anyways. We'll see. I have mixed feelings about it. I don't feel like it's adding much to the original trilogy in my opinion, but I'm not very far into it, so like I could be wrong. So page 72, 10% through. The next book I'm going to be reading is The Beautiful by Renée Ahdieh. This is a book I've been putting off for a very long time. I've been putting on my TBR for a long time. I finally started it and I've enjoyed the first 64 pages of it, so I'm not too worried that I'm going to pick it up pretty quickly and finish it this month. The next one is The Dragon's Promise by Elizabeth Lim, which is book number 2 of 6 Crimson Cranes. I've read the first book a while ago because I had the Fairy Loot edition. I got the second book. Can't wait to finish it, but I'm like maybe 20 pages through. Yeah, I only read 2 chapters. So far, it's going very fast and it's not very consistent with what I've heard. I've heard mixed things about the second book, but still very curious to get into it and to see where it's gonna bring our characters. The next book I'm currently reading is A Brief History of 7 Killings by Marlon James. I've been reading this one since February and I need to finish it this year. Probably not this month, but at least this year, and I need to make some progress into it. I do remember the characters, I remember what it talks about, like where it's at. It's just that it's a very heavy book to go through, and it's hard to go through it really fast because it's so violent and raw, and the Jamaican vernacular is a little harder for me to grasp, and I don't want to just skim through it. I want to fully absorb what the book is trying to do and what it's doing, but because even though it's very raw and brutal, it still deserves to be read thoroughly. So that's what I'm doing, but it takes a lot of time. Just like The Two Towers, I'm hoping to make a lot of progress in this one this month, but I'm not having any hopes of finishing this book this month. But I do want to finish reading it this year though. The next book I'm currently reading is Wicked Like a Wildfire by Lana Popovic. This is a magical realism book which I'm not enjoying. I didn't like the first 10 pages I've read, but I'm gonna go through it because I do have the 2 books. It is a duology. This is the first one. I do have the second book as well. I do want to finish them. We'll see if I like them or not. I do want to push through them. Again, like I just read 10 pages, 12 pages, so that doesn't say much. I might change my mind and get to enjoy the book eventually, so I'm not too worried for now, but it's not like the first book I want to pick up right now. But still, I'm hoping I can finish the duology by the end of the year. Why I'm struggling with it so far? The reason why I'm struggling with it so far, I think, is because of the prose. It's very flowery and complex vocabulary, and I'm finding it hard to like keep up and understand what's going on. And sometimes I have to like reread a sentence because I didn't fully grasp it, but I guess I'll get used to the writing eventually. And it's a little bit odd because I do tend to like flowery writing, but this one is just not like quite working for me quite yet. It may change though, so we'll see. The next book on my list is False Assassin by Robin Hobbs. I know I'm starting with like 12th book-ish of the series. Of all the book trilogies, I know I didn't start with the right one, but I started this one, so I'm gonna finish it. But I am going to make 2024 the year that I read like a good chunk of Robin Hobbs books, I think. I really want to get to it. I've been wanting to get to it for a while. So yeah, and the Aurelium readathon got me to it quicker than I expected. But yeah, this one is definitely like way further. It's the first of a trilogy, but it's a trilogy that's further compared to the other trilogies. I learned that afterwards when I already started the book. So I'm gonna finish this one, and then probably in 2024 I'm gonna start off with like the first book of the first trilogy and go from there and follow the recommended order to read these books, if that makes any sense. So far I'm enjoying it, but these books are really huge. I am enjoying them. It's like 1700 pages on my reader, so I am close to 300 pages read, but there's a lot more to go through. It's not even 25% through, but it's fine. We'll see how much progress I'll make into this one. I'm not getting my hopes up to finishing it this month either, but I do want to make as much progress as I can through this one. Also, when I go to bed, I do try to keep my e-reader with me so that it's easier for me to read. I try to not read like physical books in my bed, and when I wake up I do tend to like pick up my e-reader as well. So this is the book I'm picking up when I'm in bed basically, so I should be able to make some progress. And the last book on my list is Hidden Figures by Margaret Lee Shetterly. So this is a nonfiction. I haven't found the audiobook for this book because I would have chosen the audiobook instead of the ebook. I started it a while ago, but I read like pretty quickly through it, and I'm not sure I grasped everything, so I'm gonna start it all over again. But I do want to get to it. I did watch the movie, which I really enjoyed, but I feel like this book has so much more to offer than the movie. So far, the first 90-ish pages that I read, I've had that feeling, and it's written a little bit differently than the movie is portrayed. So I really want to get to it. I want to know more of these amazing women, and I can't wait to get to that one as well. And that is it. So I don't have much newish books to add to my TBR. I just honestly want to wrap up things that I've started in order to get to new stuff. And it's hard, but September should be a good month. I'm getting back into a routine. It is tiring, but I should get back on my feet pretty quickly. I'm not too worried. I'm aiming for 8 books this month because I am way behind my Goodreads challenge. But if I make like 5 or 6, I'll be happy with that. So yeah, we'll see. One day at a time. Let me know if you've read any of these books. What are your thoughts on them? Let me know how your August month has been. What are the books that are on your September TBR? Thank you so much for watching. As always, I really appreciate it. Like, comment, subscribe if you wish. Hit the notification bell if you want to be notified every time I upload a new video. And I will see you soon in the next one. Bye.